So I'm very glad I have this opportunity to present the studies on twin telepathy, what is called twin telepathy. 3 studies of the relationship among twins, between physiological connectedness and attachment. It's a cooperation between University of Greenwich and University of Gothenburg. By myself, Dr. Göran Brusewitz, as it is pronounced in Sweden. The phenomena twin telepathy, it's part of a thesis called Attachment and Exceptional Experiences Among Twins. By myself, being a PhD student at the University of Greenwich, with my supervisor, Dr. David Luke, and I was assisted by Professor Adrian Parker from the University of Gothenburg in Sweden, and Dr. Ann-Katrin Pohle. First, you may need a short background about twin telepathy research. As you may know, there are numerous anecdotal reports about this phenomenon, but only a few contemporary experimental studies. There were 2 studies published around 2012 by Jensen and Parker. And besides that, there have been approximately 10 studies during the years, most of them with small samples and with various methodology and technology. One study is often mentioned by Blackmore and Chamberlain from 1993. It is often mentioned by critical people. It indicated thought concordance as explanation, but they only used 3 pairs of twins, and the twins did not report any experiences of paranormal things. Besides this, there was a survey at the Department of Twin Research in London, with whom I cooperated. They had a survey of their own in 2004 and 2005. And in this survey, they included questions if the twins were psychic. And besides this, I did myself a survey on twin telepathy that was published in JSPR in October 2013, which started my research. You may need to know what this kind of experiences look like. So I can mention a few examples. A young woman woke up in the middle of the night. She felt her stomach was on fire and couldn't even touch it. She was later told that her sister that night was taken to hospital for an emergency operation and had her appendix taken out. And for another pair, one twin complained of head pains, not knowing what happened to the other twin. She was far away and happened to slip and cut her head and was taken to hospital. In another case, one twin cut a finger quite badly with a carving knife. For the brother, far away, a finger went red and very sore, and the doctor they visited understood nothing. And the final example, a male twin was walking outdoors, and he suddenly found he couldn't walk. He could continue after a few minutes, and talking to his brother a few days later, he heard that his brother did have problems with this very day, with his hip coming out of joint. All these events have occurred rather in time, at the same time, corresponding in time. So it seems there is a connection between the twins in these cases. That is the background, rather physiological connection rather than mental. I did for my thesis 3 studies and compared telepathy with attachment. The first one was carried out at the university in May 2014. The second and third the following year, more central in London. In these 3 studies, I had 4 + 7 + 3 pairs of twins that were selected from twins visiting a twin day in June 2013 at St. Thomas in London, with whom I cooperated. I was invited to these twin days. All pairs but one were identical twins from 23 to 65 of age. There were 700 twins participating in this day, at this day, and 130 filled a questionnaire about their experiences. As selection criteria, I had to look at what they reported on the questionnaire about their experiences. And with more experiences, they were more interested to invite. So I asked them, and they were also, of course, had to be able to visit London at the days it happened. So that was how I selected the twins. I had 3 hypotheses. The main one, do twins in a role as receiver react with higher arousal when the other twin as sender is exposed to a surprise at a randomly chosen window in time? The second, does the degree of attachment influence success in a telepathy experiment? And the third, does negative attachment, that is anxiety or avoidance, predict negative scoring in an experiment? The equipment I used, I had, of course, an equipment to measure electrodermal activity for the receiver, especially built for these experiments. I had a questionnaire, exceptional experiences questionnaire, which was designed to document what experiences twins report and the degree of, and kind of attachment. And finally, a questionnaire to measure attachment, experiences in close relationship revised. It's a self-report questionnaire on attachment, giving scores on 2 subscales, anxiety and avoidance. So now to the design. How was these experiments designed? There were in each run 5 trials. As you can see here, 5 trials with 5 stimulus. And for each trial, there were 8 time windows, each 30 seconds. And in one of these windows, time windows, one twin was exposed to a surprise. It was exposed in the midpoint in this window, randomly chosen. So there were 1 chance out of 8 to be in the right window when I was to analyze the graph afterwards. So that was the basic idea, 8 possible time windows for each trial. So I continue. The methodology. We had a short introduction for the twins, talking about the study and their experiences. The twin who was to be receiver was wired to the equipment. The other twin, being sender, was installed in a distant room. Our watches were synchronized, sender and receiver experimenter. The target windows to be target windows were selected by a random program. We had 5 minutes relaxation and then the experiment started. When finished, the twins changed roles and did the experiment again. So we doubled the data. Afterwards, they filled the questionnaires on attachment and are debriefed. The stimuli we used were a hand put in an ice bucket, burst of a balloon, and the hairdryer turned on. All of them should be that the sending twin reacts with the body and the receiving twin can pick this up, indicating some kind of connection that we call twin telepathy. The evaluation was done by me, being receiver twin experimenter. The main criterion, pre-planned of course, was that find the right window among all these 8, find the right window with the peak in the middle of the window. Also, if there are peaks in more than one window, I choose the largest and being most in the middle. And of course, if possible, the graph should be calm before the peak occurs, since the twin is relaxing all the time. Otherwise, then the surprises. The evaluation was done by me. I was blind to which windows were target windows. I knew nothing of that. When I was finished with my evaluation, it was sent to coordinator Dr. Luke, and then further to sender experimental Parker, who had the data about the target windows. And here is the interesting result for all 3 studies. You can see here in the first column, first, second, and third study, and they combined. I have the number of pairs of twins, 4, 7, and 3. The number of trials here. And some of them, most of them, but not all, were possible to use to analyze. 19 plus 53 plus 19. And of interest, number of hits, 4, 12, and 2, as compared to mean chance. That is 1 out of 8 is mean chance expectancy. And as you can see here, see if I can find there, a little more than chance in the first, almost the double in the second, and almost chance in the third. And altogether, mean chance is 11.4, and the number of hits was 18, which is significant. As you can see here, 19 twins were possible to analyze. There were a number of runs, 91. And with 18 hits, as you can see here, it was significant. The p-value is 0.043. It is significant, and it's quite important support for twin telepathy, this special connection, even if it is a small sample, but still, that is the result. I also have a table here with comparing the number of hits with attachment. Here in the left column, you can see the participants. Mean number of hits per run. Here you can see 0.2, for example, that is 1 out of 5. 0.5 is 2 out of 4. 0.65 is 3 out of 4, etc. Mean score anxiety, 1 is low, very low, strong attachment, and you can see for all of them, it's a very low score for anxiety. The same for avoidance, also very low. The attachment they reported themselves from childhood and adulthood is very strong, 7 mostly, and sometimes 6. This is the result for the second study, and it was about the same for the other studies. But as you can see, there is a lack of variance in reported attachment, so it was impossible to evaluate if attachment could predict number of hits. What we can see is that the attachment is strong for all the group. And also for the anxiety and avoidance, there is no real variation, so it cannot predict. With far more twins, it can be more variation, but the idea was interesting, but we found that the attachment was strong for all the group. Conclusions: the methodology is suitable for research with twins. It's promising with selected pairs of twins. You can discuss if attachment is important enough to be a variable, and if this questionnaire for attachment is the right one. There are difficulties in reaching twins with the weak attachment. For future work, you could have equipment even for the sending twin and have this equipment linked. You could have more variation with stimuli. and identify successful types. You can have more studies also with non-identical twins and with weak attachment. Theories that you can have in mind to explore are entanglement. Some twins may have entanglement from the start. There could perhaps be an empathy field connecting attachment with telepathy. There are indications from some studies about an empathy field. Sheldrake talks about mental field and extended mind, and some scientists talk about resonance phenomena. Finally, some thanks to the Department of Twin Research, a Parrott Warwick grant from Trinity College, financial support from Bayel Foundation and the Dutch Fund, and grants from one fund in Sweden and from Society for Psychical Research in London and from PA. Many thanks.